Hi, it's Nate McMurray. I'm a candidate for New York State Assembly. You can learn more about me at votenatemcmurray.com. And here are my promises. Okay. Number one, as a state legislator, I will push for a permanent moratorium on data centers along the Niagara River. Now, Kathy Hochul is considering a 1 year moratorium on data centers. I will push for a permanent one anywhere near Niagara Falls. Now, you're probably wondering why. Because it's one of the biggest tourist destinations in the world. We undervalue tourism. I talk about it all the time. We should be an eco tourist destination for the entire world. We should celebrate the whirlpool and the rapids, the wineries, Lake Ontario. Other places with far less make much more. We are not doing a good job. And to have the short sighted idea of putting a loud, ugly data center right along the river is going to repeat the mistakes of the past when we put chemical factories along the river. That brings me to number two. I will fight against pollution. It sounds simple, but there's issues that have been lingering for generations, like Cayuga Island, where they just found again, they found them in the past, but they found toxic materials buried there that no one's done anything about. Are you sure the 102nd landfill that has 96,000 tons of waste in it is safe? Are you sure the landfills out there in Lewiston are safe? We can't continue to hide our head in the sand and pretend it's all okay. We have to fight back, and I will fight back for compensation for homeowners, and I'll fight for remediation, and I'll fight for change. We need to tear down those ugly factories along the river. Now, when I say these things, no data centers, tear down the ugly factories along the river, a lot of powerful interests get very angry. So if you agree with me, there's a reason why they're there all these years later for generations. But if you agree with me, go to votenatemcmurray.com. The way you change these things is you get people in power who are not connected to the status quo. Which brings me to the next thorny issue. Number three, renegotiate the casino contract. Now, you probably are thinking, well, how can we do that? Well, the original contract was negotiated by the Republicans, George Pataki and George Maziarz, which gives a third of the slot machines only to the people of Niagara Falls. And that third of a third has to be divided among different agencies in the city of Niagara Falls. In other words, the city of Niagara Falls is getting almost nothing. I say this all the time, but the problems with the city of Niagara Falls are by design. They almost have no representation in the state legislature. Or excuse me, the county legislature. They do have no representation in the state legislature because the Republicans we send there bring nothing back. They just complain about Albany all day long without figuring out ways to get money back for our communities. If you look at Art Park or the city and all these other areas, we get far less than other places. And we continue to lose population every year because people are afraid to take on these big issues. Number four, I want to restore local control. That means, like, I am for green energy and renewable energy. I fought for it in the past, but you don't cover up, local zoning and miles of farmland with solar panels because it's cheaper for a foreign company to make money off of it. That's what happened. That's what happened out in Pendleton. And the Republicans are currently funding that. Yeah, they said they would fight it, but they're funding it, and it's wrong. The goal is not to destroy the local character. You're not saving the environment by destroying the local environment. It doesn't make any sense. So I'll fight against it. Take back and expand our local tax base. Now, other places have done this. When I say ideas like this, the Republicans will say, oh, it's impossible because they want no accountability or responsibility for anything. But we have a ton of public land in Niagara County between Grand Island and Niagara County. Nearly 10% of the total land is state land that we cannot tax. And that is some of the most valuable land, like the New York State Power Authority. So why do you think your taxes are so high? Because we have no tax base. We can't tax this land. Other places like the Adirondacks, where they have similar problems, have legislative solutions that allow them to tax public land. It sounds crazy, but It exists in New York State. Why hasn't anyone from our region fought for this? I will. Next, I want to rebuild Niagara Falls. And I think Niagara Falls is the future. Throughout this whole thing, you're going to hear that thread. I just talked to a friend up in Alaska. He says they're building miles and miles of tourism related hotels and luxury spas. Why are we doing that in Niagara Falls? Why do we just focus on the kitsch and the weird? Once upon a time, when Marilyn Monroe was making her famous Niagara film here, this was considered a glamorous place. Why did we let all that slip away? Why is it all just low end, low hanging fruit? We need to upscale and develop our area from kayaking to boating to fishing to further exploration and expansion of the facilities at the Whirlpool State Park and Devil's Hole State Park, revitalization of Art Park into a world class destination and concert venue that it should be. That's what we need to do. I've talked about it every day. If you haven't heard my almost daily commentary on this, go to votenatemcmurray.com or better yet to my social media, Facebook or TikTok. Term limits. I fought for term limits when I was on Grand Island. I passed a term limits law. Has any other person in Western New York done that? No, I did it. I don't believe these jobs should be permanent. I want to go in, make an impact, and get out. One of the reasons why I ruffled so many feathers in Grand Island when I was the supervisor is I got so much done. The West River Trail, the Welcome Center, people can complain about this stuff, but I got stuff done. I reopened the Holiday Inn Express that was closed for 40 years. I could go on and on. Put an elevator at the town hall, Scenic Woods Trail. Get stuff done and get out. That's why we need term limits. The biggest thing that doesn't get talked about that much is I also want to end the friends and family only nature of Niagara Falls and Niagara County and Grand Island. When I was supervisor on Grand Island, I put in rules only hire based on merit. No more friends and family. Hey, I know a guy. Merit only. These county jobs and these firefighter jobs and police jobs they're great jobs. And they should be great jobs. They should be well paid. But we have to make sure that the people getting these county jobs are the ones who deserve it, not just somebody's friend. And we have a system where we have one party rule. You can talk about one party rule in New York State all you want, and that's a problem. I agree. There needs to be more open debate and conflict and discussion and dialogue. But in Niagara County, it's been Republican rule for a generation. And you may think those are the guys you watch on Fox News. These are some go to your county legislators, see who's running the county forever and who they're giving jobs to and how corrupt it's been. Here's the one that I've been passionate about for a long time. I will push for the passage of the New York State Healthcare Act. Despite having a supermajority in the state assembly, the Democrats have not pushed for a vote on it. I think we have a change happening where it's possible. If you look at Canada, universal healthcare in Canada started in Saskatchewan and then it spread. We can do the same here. We're already wasting so much on healthcare. We can figure out a way to pay for it in New York State. We're already giving so much to the federal government in federal taxes. Why can't we figure out a way to pay for healthcare for every one of our citizens like every other developed country? Let's start in New York State. I'll fight for it. Here in Niagara County, my presence will force the local Republicans who've had it so easy for so long to change and not to accept the status quo. So my mission is protect the river, rebuild Niagara Falls, expand opportunity for everyone, and clean up corruption. These are pretty concrete goals. I just laid them out for you. There's 10 of them. Go back, watch this over and over again, compare me to my opponent, ask her to debate me. Let's have a debate. Let's have an open discussion. But this is what I stand for. And I'm very clear about it. Now, they think they're just going to be able to coast into office because there really isn't a way I can win, and they always win by 40 percentage points. So your vote for me, what's the threat? Shake it up. They think they can win by a landslide. At least show them it's close. At least show them they have to take these types of ideas seriously. At least show them that change is possible. And we can't accept the status quo in Niagara County or Grand Island anymore.